I got the timing chain completely out of the car. So in my previous video, I was getting ready to, I showed the timing chains. The only thing I saw at the time was the timing chains on the right side of the engine, which would be, in this case, the American right side, passenger side, I should say, was a little loose. But I don't see anything majorly wrong right now. Still, it looks pretty good. I did pull off the oil pump. I'm going to try to go down here and show you this. Okay, there's the oil pump pickup tube right there. The oil pump goes right here. So this was highly concerning to me if this was going to be something hard to get out. So right here, there are two bolts, and those bolts have to be pulled down into the pan. This one was a little bit more tricky because the oil pump was in the way, and I was able to get it. What I would suggest doing if you're trying to pull this oil pump off on a 4.6 liter or a 5.4 is get yourself an 8mm 6-point wrench and gently loosen them up. After I loosened them up, I was able to turn them by hand and gently hold on to them so they wouldn't fall into the pan. Even if they fell into the pan, you can see it would just drop down a little bit. It probably wouldn't be too difficult to get back out. I had a magnet on standby just in case, though. But like I said, it was a little. I saw people on YouTube doing that, and it made it seem like it was a lot harder than it actually was. For me, anyway, it was not that difficult. One thing I did notice when I pulled the oil pump off is that there's no gasket here, and that was a question I had to people on the internet because I didn't see the oil pump did not come with a new gasket, and apparently they do not come with gaskets. So it's just metal against metal at that point. The only thing that it needs to be replaced, you can see it right there. There's a small little O-ring on the pickup tube, which I have not replaced. I will pull that off later, but I don't want to pull it off right now. So, but pulling it off was not as hard as I thought it would be. But I see people on the internet saying it's very, very difficult, and some people saying it only took them like 20 minutes. So for me, I would say it was not super difficult. But I have not put it back on yet, so I don't know how hard it is to put back on. Here's the, right here, here's the oil pump. You see right here, swip it around. So you can see there's no gasket material right there or right there either. Here's the bolt that was on the pickup tube. The thing is, when it's pulled out, I had to unscrew it and then carefully pull it down a little bit more. So that's the part that's kind of crucial. Make sure you have something to hold on to. But my hands were small enough to get in there that I didn't have much of a problem holding on to it to keep it from falling into the pan. Here's the I have two of them. The other bolts in another location right now. Here's the magnet I had. I put that inside the oil pan just in case. As you can see, it would have if it fell into the pan, it was going to hopefully would have snagged it up pretty easy. But make sure you have some sort of magnet, preferably like a cloth of some kind. I pulled the cloth out in there, so that would also help in catching it in case it falls in the pan. Here are the old timing chain components. You can see everything's there. This is one side of the engine. I forget which side. And this is the other side of the engine. This one also includes the crankshaft part and for the crankshaft sensor and the bottom sprocket. And this is the timing guide right here. The timing chain guide right here. And this is the tensioner right here. I called this a timing guide in the other video. This is actually a timing tensioner, so it helps with the tension of the guide. So all this is going to be replaced, but I kept them in separate boxes just in case I need them. The other thing is I'm going to gently spray down the surfaces. I just got some throttle body cleaner and gently wipe everything down, make sure everything's clean. I see people on YouTube using brake cleaner. I guess you can do that. I figured this is made for an engine, so I thought I'd use that instead. As far as putting the timing chains on, over here, you want to get number one piston, which is right here at top dead center. And what you need to do is there are three lobes. I don't know if you can see this very well, but there are 3 lobes per cylinder, that is. So the one on each end, see if I can get this better. One on each end, those are your intake valves. This is a 3-valve engine. There's 2 intake valves and 1 exhaust valve. So in order to get top dead center on number 1, I watched the rotation of the exhaust valve, which is the one in the middle. As you can see, it's hard to tell maybe, but it's got a, the lobe is pointing in the up position, and it's getting ready to open the exhaust valve, which means it's right before top, right about top dead center. And that way, when I pulled everything out, there was a little mark that goes at the bottom on the crankshaft sprocket that's pointing straight down. And I had the sprockets, this one over here pointing to R, and one on this side pointing to L. And that way everything should be lined up. When I put everything back on, I should be able to line it up fairly easy. But I've seen some people go in here and they pull a spark plug out, and they want to make sure the piston is at top dead center. You can do that if you want, but I would be very careful, because the spark plugs that are in these cars, especially older ones like this car is 2008, so it's now about, what, 18 years old. So that spark plug may be very, very old, and it could break. And if it breaks, it's going to be very hard to get out. So I decided not to pull the spark plug out. And what the people will do, if they can get the spark plug out, they put a long screwdriver in there, and they let it rest on the top of the piston. As the piston goes up and down, they can see the screwdriver go up and down too. It's a good idea, but like I said, I decided not to do it because I don't want this, if that's spark plug breaks, I don't want to spend another couple hours trying to get that piece out, because it gets wedged in there. The ceramic part can break off, and it can be really hard to get back out. So I didn't want to mess with that. So the next, it rained today, so I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but I'm going to put the oil pump on. And before I put the oil pump in there, I'm going to make sure to prime it. And prime it just means I'm going to put oil flow, have oil flow through it. And then I'll start putting the timing chain back on, and I should make another video, and you should be able to see what it looks like. But anyway, that's it. Thank you.